It's time for the Access of Easy podcast, the weekly technology digest that keeps you ahead of the curve. Brought to you by EasyDNS.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Access of Easy. I'm still reading off my phone because I don't have a computer in front of me. This is number 325 of the weekly Access of Easy newsletter from Joan Barnes, Mark Jeftovic, and you can subscribe at accessofeasy.com. Len, I believe there's been a website update. Do I have that right? We got word today. There's a website update. Access of Easy has changed. I guess it's got a facelift, I think would be the best way to put it. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, head over, subscribe, make sure you do that. You get a little bit of a discount on some Access of Easy services and products when you do. And of course, we only cover like 4 or 5 of the stories in the newsletter. And there's tons more to talk about, tons more to read. And maybe most importantly, you can also, throw your name in there for the quote of the week. But anyway, before we get to the quote, Len, what's going on in your neck of the woods? How are you?
Yeah, same old, Joey. Still sick, still under the weather. It's going to be a month very soon, which is going to be fantastic. That's a long time. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to get sick for an extended period of time, might as well be during the cold winter months. Or we're not even at winter, but approaching winter. So I might as well get it out of the way now. So I can enjoy spring, summer, and fall. So, yeah. How are things over there with you? And by the way, I just got to say before you answer that, man, you're looking for a computer to put in front of you? Black Friday deals. Take a look at them.
I know. Tomorrow. You're right.
It's even available now.
Look for something. I haven't really looked in earnest. The only thing I bought Black Friday so far was protein powder, 24% off on Amazon. Just came actually a little while ago. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to get something to put on the table here, and then I can at least look at it or refer to it, or maybe even put it on my lap. I mean, it's in the name. I've never actually held a computer on my lap for any extended period of time, probably since those things became like retail available for everybody. But a story for another time.
Oh, you need one of those swivel arms that you could put on there and have the laptop just slide off.
Should I get another one, like with the mic is one, and then just have this thing coming around too, like some kind of supervillain setup?
You're going to do it, might as well be professional all the way. Don't be professional 9/10 of the way. So, yeah. and with that, we could build our own. We could go really, really stylish and save some money. It may not look that great, but it'll be functional. Function over form.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's get into it. So this is 325, like I mentioned. Last week's quote: "Until you do what you believe in, you don't know whether you believe it or not." That was from Leo Tolstoy. I would never have guessed that, although that's a name I'm very familiar with. No one got it, so I'm not alone in that regard. This week's quote, then: "We cannot despair of humanity since we ourselves are human beings." That was by, we don't know. That's the whole fun of this game. You guys,
I wrote that one.
Yeah, did you? That's a Len original. I had no idea. So if you
AI, artificial intelligence.
AI.
That'd be funny if it's the case, because it's talking about humanity and being human beings. And given the way AI is going these days, it's there are some level of improvements, and in other words, there's really no improvements whatsoever. So who knows? Maybe one day it's going to be writing quotes for us. Maybe one day it's going to be doing these podcasts for us.
I don't want anyone to guess AI, but head to Access of Easy and guess in the comments. And if you get it right, your next renewal is on Mark and the team. With that, Len, 5 stories tonight. Some fun, some not so much so. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's just dive right into... Well, we'll talk about this hacker group, this ransomware group. And I'm not going to call them by the initials, because it just doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, we'll call them Black Hat. That's the name they're known for. But incredibly, sure. Black Hat, they're trying to find new ways to exploit and extort companies for money. And they're doing so aside from the boring old ways that's been done in the past, such as stealing information and holding that hostage. No, this ransomware group, man, they're taking it to the next level. But again, Black Hat, I see that name Black Hat, how it derived from ALPHV, whatever the heck. How does it come from that, by the way? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
sure.
Like getting Dick from Richard. How does Dick come from Richard? I have no fucking clue.
I think if your name was Richard, you'd be looking for a nickname too. And then probably you're with your buddies and they offer you Dick as a nickname, and it doesn't really work for you, but it works for everybody else. And then before you know it, that's what you're called. If I had to guess, that's how it went down.
He is a dick. And anyways, well, Black Hat, they attacked the digital lending service provider Meridian Link. And it gets funny at this point, because the hackers claim that the company for which they hacked into and stole the information did not disclose the attack to the SEC within the required 4-day period of time that they should have reported it to the SEC. And this is the first time that hackers have used this tactic. And given that it's gotten a lot of publicity, and although this may not be successful, I'll talk about that in a second, I think others may follow suit here and be copycatting the black hats. And it's a very clever way for the hackers to exploit and extort money from these companies. So look, the SEC regulations is designed to provide protection to investors. But in this case, it's being used by criminals to line their own pockets, which is pretty funny. So the reason why I think the black hat group may have jumped the gun is that it looks like the Meridian Link, they will have to have provided this information to the SEC. But at this particular moment, it's not required. From what I understand, it comes into effect in December. So if this took place after that drop dead date, then yes, they would have to report it to the SEC after 4 days. Any hacks or attacks like that would have to be reported to the SEC. But as of this particular moment, they're okay. They're not required or not obligated to report it. So I think in this case, black hat is SOL with respect to extorting money through this particular method. But given that the cat is out of the bag, and there is this requirement coming up very soon by the SEC, there's probably going to be a lot of copycats moving forward. And this is an interesting way to get companies to pony up money for an attack. So it's not simply just borrowing and stealing information and selling it back. No. They're extorting it. So if they steal the information, you better report it to the SEC, or else the SEC is going to be known and be aware of this attack and hack it. So I find this to be pretty funny. And I suspect we're going to be hearing about this more in the future. And I have nothing else to say about it.
Isn't the funniest part that their defense is basically that they can't tell if anything was taken or there was any like compromised data? Like, this is really classic stuff for Access of Easy. You got a hacker group, the SEC, and the alleged, I guess, victim of this nefarious activity. They're saying they're not sure if they were actually hacked. They can't find the evidence. I don't know what to make of all this, except that Gary Gensler is got to be too busy to worry about stuff like this on a daily basis. So I hope for his sake, there's not too many copycats. I will say, though, it's nice to finally see people stealing information and causing problems without using Microsoft login credentials for once. It's not a bad change for you and me. It's better for the content, I think.
I guess so. I have nothing else to add to that. But we can move on to Truth Social. And are you
used
on
Truth Social? Oh, we were about to ask the same question. I have a Truth Social account, but I've never actually used it. I think I got it when it launched 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? I forget now. But I've never actually used it. They don't really have a phone app, and so it's really not easily accessible. Yeah. What about you?
No, I'm not on it, but they don't have a phone app. I mean, I'm shocked.
I don't believe they have an iPhone app. I mean, I'm speaking for the Apple crowd here, but I don't think they have one. So you might be able to sideload something on Android. I know Gab is another kind of, close kin to Truth. And Gab did have a sideloadable Android app for a long time, like an APK. I don't know if they still do. I know that they have the browser-based kind of, Twitter clone, whatever. But Truth, I'm not sure what their app store is on Android. They got one there,
available on the Play Store. Funny enough, I'm not sure if this is the legit one.
Maybe something changed here. Let me have a look here.
T Media Tech. So check it out. Is it coming from T Media Tech LLC? Is this a third party creating this app to use Truth Social on your phone? I have no clue.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think this is legit.
I obviously
it is. I don't know.
I don't use it. It's a fringe thing, and that's, in fact, I'll be talking about it being just some fringe type of social media platform. But anyways, this is the Donald Trump and company that he's the leader of this. He's the guy that started this, and it went public not too long ago through a SPAC.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another time. In fact, Truth Social is going after 20 different publications by suing them. And it's allegedly that they falsely reported that Truth Social lost a bunch of money, $73 million. The company is seeking $1.5 billion in damages. This is according to Bloomberg. And of the 20 companies that they're suing, there's a bunch of them. New York Daily News is included in it, MSNBC, NBC, and a bunch of others, Reuters. It goes on and on. But anyways,
Right.
Truth Social reported a net loss of almost $23 million in the first 6 months of the year. And this is compared to a profit of $29 million during the same time previous year. So obviously things are going in the wrong direction. But with respect to them, I mean, let's be honest, there may be a bias by a lot of these publications, but it is ultimately a fringe network. I mean, they're losing money, and there's a reason why they're losing money is because they're like the non-player here. Like, I don't hear Zuckerberg complaining about people not using Threads or talking about it. So he's obviously has other things on his plate. But the reality is, you release something to the masses, and people will decide with their time, with their wallets, with their apps. If they decide to use it, then great. If not, great. So really, in this case, they're losing a ton of money. It's being reported they're losing some money. I didn't check their stock, but I'm pretty sure it's probably trending downwards. And there's always talk of Trump going back on Twitter. He's been reinstated there. So we're just waiting for his triumphant return over there. And when it does happen, what's going to happen to Truth Social, the company? It's going to go. It's gone. Like, there's no reason to stay on it. Anyways, this is just a whole big nothing burger, in my opinion. Probably nothing is going to come out of it. $1.5 billion in damages. Good luck. You guys are aiming for the moon. Good for you for doing that. But you're probably going to get nothing in the process.
I don't know who cares about what True Social is doing. Honestly, I think Trump, for all the things I like about the man, some of the stuff he does is baffling to me. And I realize that there's, or at least there was anyway, this push to make sure that conservative viewpoints were seen and heard, and I guess fairly amplified would be the term, compared to what was happening on Twitter pre-Elon. Sort of this unfair de-amplification, this unfair shadow banning and whatnot, this kind of throttling of anything that was, to the right of Chairman Mao. But at the moment, there's just no need for this, right? Whether you like Elon Musk or not, whether you like Twitter or X or not, the fact of the matter is you can basically say whatever you want there, short of, calling for people's heads. And you can even do that in some cases, actually, as we found out over the last month or so. But all this to say that this is a failing enterprise, I think, grasping at straws to either, draw some blood from a stone in terms of financial repercussions, financial remuneration for the, owners and shareholders, whatever, and maybe some relevance too. But I get the feeling, Len, that if this goes sideways and becomes a big story, you might see this alongside Trump Steaks and Trump University and anti-Trump ads next year, unfortunately. So I wish this guy would drop it. He's got bigger fish to fry. I think he's fighting a million court cases. He probably spends more time combing his hair every day. Unfortunately, everyone loses the battle with hair at some point. He's been losing it for a while, but
Is he going bald?
it's hard to say. I have no idea where the hair starts and finishes on that guy. Honestly, it's like what do you call those things? It's like a Klein bottle on his head. Like, there's just no start and no finish. It's like very, very strange.
In not too distant past, he went on some show and he lifted his hair, and you could kind of see, like,
that was during the election cycle last year. I think it was on Fallon, right? Fallon or Kimmel, I believe. Yeah.
So I don't know why he wears a style like that. I mean, that's the Trump hairstyle, so it's synonymous.
It's his brand now, right? Yeah, it's
I
tough
guess.
to get away from. But I mean, the problem is this stuff is becoming his brand. Like, these sort of failed, suck money out of people who are so attached to the cult of Trump any way you can, whether it's through True Social or Trump Steaks or Trump merch or whatever. My personal opinion is it's not good for the brand. It's probably not good for his election chances either. Not that he cares about either of those things. So whatever, let him do what he wants.
He's basically a slam dunk at this point. Things could change moving forward, but looking at everything that's playing out right now, I can't see anybody toppling him to be the next president.
Why don't we settle it with a game of one-on-one basketball between Newsom and Trump?
Ooh, Newsom is so much younger, and unless you could fuel up Trump with some burgers and coffee beforehand, I don't know, man. And as long as the game takes place,
unless you put a bunch of like little Chinese kids in front of Newsom to trample, Trump's got a chance, I think. Don't you?
That's a foul, though. Isn't a so.
I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway,
we're off the rails here. Keep going.
Let's talk about what's going on with the government of Canada. And there's report of a very serious data breach that has affected a large number of people. And this is including Government of Canada employees and members of the Canadian military. And the attack was carried out by the cyber crime group Lockbit. I don't know, Joey.
I like the original kind of combo, Lockbit. Like, I've not heard those two words together before, but on their own, they're not very original. So I'm going to give that a 2 out of 5.
Yeah,
Where do
I'm
you
the
come down?
same, exact same thing. I'm giving a 2
Yeah.
out of 5.
Yeah.
So this group does have a history of targeting large organizations, and they showed off that they're a sophisticated and dangerous threat with this type of attack. And this data breach was discovered not too long ago on October 19th. And when I read about it, I thought for sure this is going to show up on the docket for an Axis of Easy. And here we go. But anyways, this data breach stole a bunch of data related to moving and relocation services firms that were contracted by the Canadian government to provide relocation support to employees. And the data that was stolen, it's not just stuff that's recent. Man, this goes back as far as 1999. Think about that.
Wow.
90, that's like a time when
25
dial-up
years.
modem.
Yeah.
Yeah, dial-up modems was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
And so this is potentially a lot of information that impacts a large number of people. And the Canadian government, they are offering credit monitoring services to those that are affected. See, this is, par for the course.
What is going on with this offering from every company that had their information nicked? Like
This is
this is it. It's like, here's some credit. Who's asking for that? I need to be compensated properly, sir. Come on.
I don't understand, like, what else. I mean, it seems that this is the par for the course. But anyways, in terms of the number of people impacted, it doesn't say how many. But given the time frame, I would suspect a lot of people's information have been taken from this attack, and that's pretty concerning. And I'm not sure exactly what is the best course of action moving forward, aside from trying to shore up their systems to ensure this doesn't happen again. But yeah, the credit monitoring services, this is, they're offering it. That's great. I'm not sure what else they could offer anything more, because we haven't seen anybody else offer anything more. But hopefully nobody gets rug pulled in the process and gets their credit scores ruined, or even worse, have people show up at their doorstep. Like if they have made some enemies of somebody, they can probably get their information, their name, their address, their telephone number, and you don't know what could happen at that point. So yeah, personal protection and privacy and everything, it's everything is just thrown out the window at this particular moment with respect to this, and it's pretty sad.
I don't have much to add except that there is no safe information database anywhere in the world, whether it's in your home, the government has it, your doctor, whatever, like all this stuff is available to the right set of skills and the right amount of patience. And every week on this show, then we talk about a set of information that really should have been safe. There's no reason for it to have been compromised or available to people who want to compromise it. And yet it seems to me that every Thursday I got to come back and sit in this chair and talk about it happening 5 more times. It just never ends. It's like Groundhog Day with these guys. They'll never learn. Honeypots are a security risk no matter where they are kept. That is the fact of the matter.
Here's a honeypot that we haven't really thought of before. At least I haven't. And it all stems from this Rhysida ransomware attack. And the British Library was the subject of a ransomware. So that's interesting.
What books have you been checking out there, right? You got a license for that book in it, mate.
If they could wipe off all the fines, those nickel fines every day, then maybe. But then again, everybody's in dire straits trying to shore up their balance sheets. And maybe this is one way that... whatever. The stolen data includes employment documents and passport scans too. It's a pretty serious.
What? Okay, hold on a minute though, because when I read this, I thought about why, and we talked about this on something else, maybe on CBP or on this show last week. Why does the library have passport scans?
This is the British Library, so it must be some sort of ties to the British government, and maybe they're using.
But why? I
don't know.
I cannot think of a time I have scanned my passport for anything. Can you?
Yeah, for sure I have.
Are you sure about that? Maybe a long time ago, Len, before, you kind of had this digital age, the tools available to make this a little easier and a little less cumbersome. But like we've talked a few times now about like passport and passport scans. Who is keeping passport scans?
The British Library.
I guess, but why? Anyway, sorry, continue. Go ahead.
They're using when they print it out, they're using that as a divider in the stacks, maybe, or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a bookmark. Here's another bookmark.
Here's another passport. It's like scrap paper over there by the desk, just all passport scans.
So the ransomware attack not just took that information, but it also knocked out their website, their phone lines, their on-site services, such as visitor Wi-Fi and electronic payments. So those 5 cents a day late charges, unfortunately, people couldn't pay them. And the library also said it's investigating the attack and that it would provide more information as soon as it was available. So it's pretty scary that they don't have very much information as of yet. And the library has not said how it was compromised as well. But it's likely that the attackers used some sort of malware to gain access to the systems. And once they gained access to it, the attackers encrypted the library files and demanded a ransomware payment in exchange for the decryption key. And the library did not say how much money the attackers demanded, but it's likely to be a significant sum considering the information that has been stolen. And these ransomwares, two stories we've talked about this week, it's obviously becoming more and more common these days. And, some of these payments could be in the millions of dollars for every attack. So it's very lucrative. And so the library said they're working to restore its system and to decrypt the files. And it's also taking steps to prevent this from happening again in the future. But all this, I hopefully we get some information or at least some feedback from Charles to point out in his next throne speech that he's very concerned about this attack and hopefully it doesn't happen again. That's the only thing I'm hoping from all this. Charles, buddy, this is your time to shine. Let's talk about it.
Here's the answer to all this, okay? Don't go to the library. I mean, we got to be missing something here. Like, there's got to be some kind of royal library or something. But I mean, when I see this story, I just think, like, I don't go to the library for a lot of reasons. But, probably one of the big ones is that I don't want to have a card. I don't want to return books. I don't want physical stuff. I don't want all that. And it seems like in a time when, digital data keeping is becoming the norm, yeah, there's problems with that, but at least you can do stuff like encrypt it and whatnot. These guys are just having scans of passports, sitting on laptops or computers or whatever database they're using, and just easy pickings for whoever feels like they want to grab a quick scan. It's not great. And actually, I shared a comment in a couple of pictures with you today of the new Canadian passports. And, you got to figure like maybe Britain's doing the same thing, or some of these other countries in Europe are doing the same thing we're doing. There's a lot of like tech in those passports now. And so you don't want people having access to your passport number, because it looks to me like there's more and more opportunity for surveillance, for, maybe narrowing the pathways you can take in life vis-a-vis your passport. It's just not a good idea. I don't know about you, Len. I very rarely touch my passport. I know where it is. I don't want to take it out for almost any reason. And this is exactly why. I'm surprised to see this, but it's current state of affairs. Everyone's making these mistakes, and they're going to keep making them, touching the stove, as we like to say, until something happens. So here we go.
The libraries now, you don't even have to go in. Once you get your card, you could get the books that you want sent to you electronically, and it's going to be with you for a period of time, and then it gets deleted from your device. Also, you could get audiobooks as well from the library like that too. So you don't have
to charge
physically...
you late fees on that stuff?
I think it gets automatically deleted from your
How are they making money? How are they? Where's the money in it then?
It's subsidized
funding, I guess. Yeah.
They just want people to learn, and it enriches people's thoughts, and in turn, society benefits.
Very generous interpretation of libraries. But anyway, go ahead. Next story.
Elon Musk and X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, filed a lawsuit against the liberal watchdog group Media Matters.
I love this story.
This watchdog group, this lawsuit is for defamation. And in the lawsuit, X alleges that Media Matters has made some false and defamatory statements about the company in an effort to damage its reputation. Specifically, X claims that Media Matters has falsely accused the company of being what they call Russian propaganda machine, and also they're spreading hate speech. The company also alleges that Media Matters has coordinated with other left-wing groups to amplify its attacks on X. And X is seeking for $100 million in damages. And the company claims that these defamatory statements have caused them to lose business and damage reputation. Now, there were some ads that were pulled from X, but it was mostly due to the remarks of Elon Musk, not so anything to do with Media Matters. So there may be some justification for this. How much advertisement has been lost as a result of Media Matters, I have no idea. But this lawsuit is the latest escalation in the ongoing feud between X and Media Matters. And these two groups have been at odds for some time. And in addition, X has launched a website called don'tbemanipulated.org. And it's a dedicated to attacking Media Matters. Elon's famous for this. Remember, he did create one for our prime minister. I don't want to say what the website is, but he's famous for creating websites just to troll people and groups. So this may be another one that he's done. Just spun up this website as a way to attack and troll Media Matters. And the website don'tbemanipulated.org accuses Media Matters of being a partisan group that was funded by dark money. I'm wondering if they're going to be talking about Bitcoin in this particular lawsuit. And the lawsuit and the website are likely going to further the strain between everything here. But you know what? I just want to state this. Elon, he is a very interesting person. There's nothing that you can really do to stop him. If he has something on his mind in terms of, excuse me, getting a message out, even if it's going to piss people off, he will do it. The one thing I wonder about him, he's pissed off so many people, though. He must have a mark, like on his back, and people are waiting to take him out. The amount of security detail that's surrounding him, it's got to be astronomical, because there's got to be a lot of people that would like to see him disappear one way or another. And to keep him safe and secure, I can't imagine what type of requirements, the amount of effort has to be put into that. So he's going to continually piss off people of power. I got to say, just be careful moving forward, because you don't know what's going to happen, obviously. In fact, when we're talking about this, and we had just yesterday the 60th anniversary of the assassination of Kennedy. So you know what? Presidents have been assassinated. Who knows what could happen with him?
The Media Matters lawsuit is an interesting one for one reason in particular, and it's Twitter X's whatever claim about how Media Matters was able to basically capture screen grabs of major advertisers' ads on Twitter next to what they are calling anti-Semitic or otherwise, sort of unpalatable commentary on the platform. And in the lawsuit, I don't have it in front of me, but I did read it the other day. In the lawsuit, the claim, and actually X's CEO, Linda, I can't remember her last name, did a thread about this as well over the last few days. The claim that the X platform is making is that what Media Matters did was spin up new accounts and follow only the most sort of distasteful, unpalatable, fringe commentary Twitter accounts that they could find, and then use the algorithm to have it suggest tweets that, of course, are in the same vein, and then just waited, bang, there's a Nike ad next to a guy who says that the Holocaust never happened. Send it to Nike. They wait, bang, there's an ad that says, Israeli children need to die by the hand of Hamas, and it's next to an iPhone ad. Send it to Apple. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But I will tell you, as a Twitter user myself, X user myself, sometimes that does happen sort of by chance, especially on the For You feed, where Elon has been very vocal about trying to keep people on platform and manipulating that feed to engage you, whether positively or negatively, to keep your attention. And surely, Len, if you spend enough time on that platform, you will see some major brand advertising next to something that major brand would find to be distasteful. I don't think that's an indictment of the platform, nor is it an indictment of, the advertising model on Twitter. I just think it's part and parcel of the game, right? If I go to the mall, if Apple puts a store in a mall that has, I don't know, this is a bad example, but the point I'm trying to make is that this is not entirely avoidable, short of extreme measures, I think, on these part of Twitter or X. And for Media Matters to have gone through all these lengths only to be able to get very minimal exposure where the brand is next to something that shouldn't be there as far as the brand is concerned, it really tells you something. And I gotta be honest with you, I look at the way Media Matters has carried itself in the past. I look at the way any company, organization, nonprofit, you name it, attacks any platform that they cannot control explicitly or implicitly, vis-a-vis money or vis-a-vis influence or vis-a-vis threats of joblessness or whatever to the people at the top. I have no faith that they're acting in good faith, and I hope that Elon takes us all the way and it's very public from here to there. I think it'd be important, just the same way that the Twitter files were important. I think this would be something to watch.
The one thing that you can't do with Elon is strong arm him.
Yeah.
He's
He refuses.
impervious.
He refuses to be strong armed. He just doesn't. He has, I know we're not supposed to swear on this show, but he has fuck you money in a way that almost no one else on the planet does. And he just does not need to adhere to any rules he thinks are, below him. He just simply does not. Sometimes that's to his benefit. Sometimes it's to his detriment. Sometimes it's good for everybody. Sometimes it's bad for everybody. Whatever. The fact is, he doesn't have to do it. And these guys can't stand it. I don't know what else to say. He doesn't want to do it. They can't stand it. And so they're throwing all kinds of darts at him, seeing what sticks.
Yeah. Look, he's gone up against the SEC.
Yep.
Nobody goes up against the SEC in the way that he has. And he doesn't care. Like you say, he has FU money.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody's in that position, there's nothing you can do aside from, I don't want to suggest it, but you know what I mean? Like, hopefully he's got enough security detail to protect him, because you don't want to see anybody
It's a valid concern. It's a valid concern. Like, it's hard to say, but it's not good. That's all.
Exactly. Well, that's it, Joey. That's it.
Well, great. Nice to see you again, I guess. Don't forget, next week, same time, same place. And again, I want to mention that the website had a facelift and overhaul. So head over there, accessofeasy.com, subscribe. Okay. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also
subscribe online,
podcast.
Like on YouTube, because
it
does support the product when you subscribe on YouTube. So if you can, please do that.
Please do it. Until next time, take care of yourself.
Take care.